Hello and welcome to a very special Wake and Jake. It is October 27th. I am recording live from LA. Shout out. I'll reveal it. I'm at the Petite Hermitage Hotel or something like that. Again, don't come murder me if you're out here. But yeah, I don't know. Cool spot. LA people recommended it. It's one of those places that's a little too cool for me. I'll do some LA Chronicles. The World Series is happening. We're going to game three tonight, me and Coach Trev. So that is going to be fun. We'll catch you up. I mean, on here, we haven't talked about games one and two. Some things to look for the rest of the series. The Blue Jay ball worked game one, and then Yoshinobu Yamamoto. He's just that guy, pal. So we can talk about that a little bit and what I'm looking for in the upcoming couple games. From there, I think it's starting to happen, people. For the 28 other fan bases, America's GM, he put some numbers on the line. Jim Bowden, the top 50 free agents, he gave some predictions and notes. So we're going to go through every one, probably 10 minutes per free agent. So that'll be 10 times 50 is 500 minutes,
500.
which everyone knows 500 minutes is.
8
How
hours?
How crazy is it that we that one is just lost in the things have to work out by 100s or tens. Nobody cares. But we're gonna go through some of the free agents and well, it's initial thoughts to what's out there, the teams involved, kind of what stands out. Uh, and we'll react to some of the numbers. I do like some of the past couple years. I think I've done over unders on free agent predictions. I think I normally do that. I think the Kylie McDaniel ESPN, which we said we're going to befriend him, and maybe that's the one. Maybe boing. Maybe he's in the stadium tonight. Throw a ball at him or something. So we'll go through that. Maybe a little football at the end. Yesterday was a tough one for me traveling to LA. Although those Denver Broncos people, is it happening? Did RJ Harvey win me over? So we got a lot to talk about. Let's start with the World Series. And the World Series is brought to you by our presenting sponsor, Arena Club. That's right, people. They said Wake and Jake. That's who we want. And that's because Arena Club is all about October baseball, the big swings, the big moments. And that's what they bring to card collecting. Ripping a pack during the postseason feels just like watching Judge go yard or Otani shutting down a lineup game four. And I will say, if you're someone, I guess if you're a sports fan, if you like that rush, or if you like, I don't know, the rush of being at a casino, or if you've never ripped a pack, give it a try. And you should do it with Arena Club. They got packs starting at $25, or you could go up to $1,000+ and in there the grails are worth more. Like, that's just kind of the great game. Arena Club shows you the full checklist and odds before you rip, meaning there's complete transparency. So however you want to go about it, if you want to sell, trade, auction, hold, or ship it to your collection, that is the next part that makes Arena Club special. The card appears digitally right away. So go check it out. Make your October pull legendary. So, and we got some stuff. I forget if it came out with Shelfie yet. If it hasn't, go check it out. But that was a good time. Don't just watch October baseball. Collect it. Go to arenaclub.com/Wake and Jake and use code Wake and Jake to get 20% off your first slab pack. Wow. Thank you, Arena Club. Couple reads today, folks. People want the Wake and Jake. So thank you to our community, because that means people are listening and that means they like you. So I appreciate you guys. World Series, Joe Carter. Game one, my weird Jake analysis that I fell into for the first couple games of the postseason was that for the Blue Jays to be involved in this, because think about everything we were talking about. Dodgers super team, which by the way, we're not out of the woods. Like, it's Glass now Scherzer tonight, which if you looked at the regular season stats, there's one way that game can go. Luckily, it's baseball and it's the postseason, and let's see what magic shows up, and we'll talk about that in a second. Uh, but game one, and specifically game one, Snell versus Savage. So the two weird Jake math things that were going through my head. I mentioned this with the Brewers, and I said for the Brewers to have beaten the Dodgers in a series, they would have had to win game one. because that Brewers team, I don't think had the ability to win 4 out of the next 6. That's just series math. That's how my brain works. Maybe you think maybe one person out there had a light bulb moment when I said that. Did I just have a Midwest accent? A light bulb moment? Um, maybe other people are like, yeah, that actually, no, there's some decent logic there. Or a lot of you are like, that's just how simple numbers work, fella. For Toronto, it didn't necessarily work like that. For me, the two things that Toronto had to do was win a game in Blue Jay fashion. They had to mash. Every at bat had to be difficult. Um, and they did that in game one against Blake Snell. It actually ended up being a solid matchup for them because something that I've been complimentary of Snell is that he can throw a lot of pitches. He's not adverse to walking a hitter. Sometimes his control isn't perfect. And if he loses count leverage, he's okay with giving a walk and going to get the next guy. Uh, Toronto's bats showed out. I remember I took the Snell strikeout prop just for a little poppy parlay going into that game. He didn't get his number, and that's a chunk of that is the Toronto Blue Jays. I don't think Snell had his best or wipeout stuff. Um, and that first inning, they worked up his pitch count. And that is kind of one of the biggest what to watch for, is which is mind blowing, but I'm trying to think of, and I can't think of it, a playoff series that has been so dictated by can we get to their bullpen somehow. Um, Snell only struck out 4 guys in that game, and the streak he had been on, especially in the postseason, winner of 5 straight postseason starts, um, and just dominating pitching, he couldn't do that against the Blue Jays. 3 walks, 8 hits against Blake Snell. And then they got to the bullpen. His pitch count hit 100 and it sits at 5 flat innings. He comes out for that 6th inning, but he doesn't record an out. That ends up ruining his stat line because the 3 runners he lets on scores. Emmett Sheehan comes in, gets rocked again. He feels like you can't tap him on the shoulder this postseason. And I was interested. I went into some of Emmett Sheehan's numbers and I was like, did he get relief appearances this year? He didn't. He got 3 relief appearances, and he was good in them during the regular season. But this postseason, it hasn't clicked. Whether that's him, whether that's small sample size, whether it's something else, I think Dodger fans agree he's out as of now. Banda comes in after him. Banda. Um, and he gets hit too. And he had been out of the circle of trust, although last year he was some sort of nasty. He's out. We'll see if Robleski gets involved. Dalton, who does stats and info for Talking Baseball and some, a ton of jam stuff. He's Dalton. If you know, you know. He's riding the Robleski train. He's saying maybe he gets some looks for the Dodgers. And then just the sixth state of baseball, Will Klein comes in and finishes that game. Big MFer with a big old beard, throwing 100. And he looked kind of nasty. I don't think he gets in the circle of trust, but if the Dodgers have to put together a bullpen performance at some point, which they may, you'll wonder with how flowing a postseason series could be, could those 2 1-inning performances at the end affect them? But in my Toronto's, pitching path to victory or path to victory in the series, they had to win one with Toronto ball. And I would say this one counts as winning with Toronto ball. They knocked around Snell. They knocked around the middle bullpen. That was the intention. I think the other thing they're going to have to do in these first couple games is get one late. And there's an argument for this game that they did. I mean, it was a tied game, and then they blew it open. I just think the Dodgers have such an Achilles heel. It's wild. I mean, baseball doesn't work like this. This is normally, I don't know. Is this the equivalent to an NBA team having no depth? So or probably the better comparison is college basketball. Like college basketball, it's just a different talent level that sometimes you'll see a team have someone foul out in March Madness, and that next guy comes in. You're like, oh my God, like that guy is a couple months away from slinging cars. which no offense, and they're probably going to do well. If you're on the basketball team, like your life starts being laid out for you pretty good. Anyways, sorry to insult all our former D1 basketball listeners that were coming off the bench in March Madness games. So, little niche, but
Mm.
um, the Dodgers have the most glaring weakness that I think I've seen a baseball team have, and they know it. That one sign, credit to the Toronto sign fans at Game One. Someone put up a sign right next to the Dodgers bullpen that said, "Congrats on having the fourth worst Dodgers ER or bullpen ever." Pretty savage. Trey is savage. Um, that I think in one of these next couple games. Hey, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Blue Jay ball just works, and they're going to do that to Glass now or Shohei. I think they've got a better chance against Glass now. He tends to not go super deep into games. I think he's gone 7 innings once, and I think that's his longest. So maybe Blue Jay ball works against Glass. Get the pitch count up in 1 to 1.5 innings, and you're going to have a look at that bullpen. So maybe I'm overthinking that. I think they need to exploit that Achilles heel even more. And if they could get to one of the quote unquote better relievers, whether that's Roki, they haven't seen Trinan yet, and he's well rested. And at the end of the day, he's still Blake Trinan. If they can flip a scoreboard in the 7th inning or later, it's full tilt on. As much as I love Blue Jay ball, I don't know if they can just use that to win a 7 game set against this team. Um, I think they got to steal one, and I think they can. And like, could it be tonight? Like, can Scherzer give a Yeoman's effort to survive a couple innings, get it to their bullpen? Glasnow's out after 5.1. They've got a couple chances. I don't know. I'm making up tonight's game script. Um, on the other side of that, Yoshinobu Yamamoto uh, just entered, some of the rarest air we've ever seen. I don't know if we're going to see it again, right? Like the complete games are out, especially in postseason. And he's gone back to back complete games against the team that had the best record in the National League and the Brewers, and then the best record in the American League in the Toronto Blue Jays. Tied with the Yankees. You're going to have to wait till offseason free agent content to hear about them again. But just amazing. They had him on the ropes a little bit in the 1st inning. Um, and something that was interesting that we mixed it up on talking baseball a little bit was Bo Bichette didn't get the start, which I don't know. I don't know where that knee's at. I know he hasn't been playing, but and even I let out a little bit of a exhale on it because Trev mentioned, oh well, it's a back to back, whatever. And it's like, yeah, but it's the World Series. I realize we have a lot of more information and health and how the body's recovering, but Bo Bichette comes in that game and pinch hits that in that 1st inning when they have a rally going, like Bo Bichette would have been in that. And that was kind of Yamamoto's weakest inning. That does he make one bad pitch and that changes things? Um, Vladdy's strikeout that inning at the time doesn't get fully acknowledged because Vladdy has been obviously on another planet. But, that was a runner on third, less than 2 outs. I think there's no outs. So, like, if Vladdy does something there, even a fly ball to left, um, deep fly ball to left, okay, that could change the outlook of that game. So that was a weird thing, but it's just so funny to me because that game was Yamamoto to Roki. They didn't need Roki. Roki hasn't pitched in more than a week. I think we're coming up on 10 days. That again, that is a weapon the Dodgers haven't dropped yet. It gets interesting in this three. We've got 3 games before the off day. That as I'm here saying, hey, Roki's fully rested. Well, they're going to be careful with Roki. Just the future he has coming up and the fact he hasn't been a reliever. And we went through I think he's pitched back to back days once before this season, this postseason, which is just crazy. Both pitches in the low double digits in those appearances. That I guess tonight when I started thinking about it, it's like at one point they're gonna press the Roki button, and in my head that's been in the seventh inning. But if you burn him for 30 pitches, that's a guy who could be out the next day. It's not the veteran Trinan that's been doing this for years, and if you got to tap him on the shoulder, it's not any of those other guys in the bullpen that have what could potentially be Roki's outlook. Like Roki was originally had Yamamoto's potential. He still might. Like Roki, a little bit of the shine went off because he lost a little bit of velo. I think going back to the 23 WBC, like Roki was the guy. He was in the MLB The Show video game. Like he was as gross as possibly could be. And then he lost a little velo. Well, he went to Dodgers camp after not looking great this year. He's found it. It's been in the bullpen that he could be Yamamoto, who, just a reminder, Yamamoto got over 300 million. And that, I've been doing it with Shohei. That MFer over there ain't real. Same for Yamamoto. Like what? The dude is 5'10", a buck 70. And we did, like we do with a lot of free agents. And by the way, there's another Japanese pitcher coming over that people are concerned about his size. Um, and hey, is someone gonna burn us at some point? Maybe. But I don't know where the talent level is at in Japan. Um, hey, injuries can come for anyone unless Americans are just really dumb at our core, and maybe Japan's figured out something with the pitching motion that it's like, oh, should we be throwing like that? We'll save that for a special offseason episode because I shouldn't be talking about that. Um, yeah, the Roki card that I've been excited for them to play, they can't play it as hard as I thought. Let me let's do a quick factor, people. If you're on the go, and boy, have I been on the go. Factor is what you're looking for. And who's going to be the factor in tonight's game? Wait and find out. But no, people, if you're on the run, whether it's your routine, family routine, school, work, whatever it is, time to cook. Sometimes it just ain't there. And that's where Factor comes in. You're looking at 2 minutes, people. And it's chef prep, dietitian approved. It's really just a level up. It's been a huge part of our office. John like needs it to survive, and this was before he just popped out another kid. And it's just a game changer. Whether you're someone that wants to go for it, if you want to make it your everyday, like I'm gonna grind Factor. Because they've got some healthy stuff. They've got some different options to tailor towards your diet, or it's just great to have around as your emergency. Like, shoot, I'm out of time. I just need one right now. So if some of that sounds like it could be applicable to you, why don't you eat smart at factormeals.com/wakeandjake50 off. Use code wakeandjake50 off to get 50% off your first box plus free breakfast for 1 year. That's code wakeandjake50 off. Factormeals.com. 50% off your first box and free breakfast for a year. Offer only valid for new customers with code and qualifying auto renewing subscription purchase. Tonight, going to be in the building. Excited for that. Scherzer Glass now. I haven't even processed that just because I've been so on the go. But God, how fun is that? I mean, Tyler Glass now. I'll do some Jakey flex. Like, if there was okay, former MLB players you're friends with, Cole Tucker, Trevor Plouffe, sick. I'd say the next tier list. That's what a horrible Wake and Jake episode
Ooh.
that would be. Maybe we do that. People would hate that.
January comes soon.
Shit. Oh my God. And here, where do I put Ian Happ? That next tier, like Glass now is someone. I guess what would be the next tier? The next tier would be like feel comfortable messaging them on Instagram. And that would be Tyler Glass now. And it could be something silly. I've messaged him silly stuff. I think he's cool with it. No, he is. He's just a chiller and a dude. Me and Trev were laughing pretty hard at the end of last Talking Baseball just because Scherzer and Glass now are two people that approach life in a very different fashion. It was
Mm.
funny um, seeing all the Toronto Blue Jays on social media. Um, and they asked him, like, do you talk to Scherzer on his pitch day? And everyone was like, when his headphones go in, you don't talk to that guy. I think Glass now is a guy that I think if he sees me and Trev in the crowd before first pitch, like he would wave. Like he's just a different kind of thinker. His Chris Rose rotation episodes, if you go back and listen to those, um, like it's funny because in a way when you start talking about it, you're almost depicting Tyler like he doesn't care. That dude cares so much. He's so about it. He's just kind of a cerebral, silly, and new age cat that there's a lot of different ways you can play this beautiful baseball game, and to see them on the mound tonight is going to be fun. Does Max with the extra rest and with I don't know, like I know Kershaw did his retirement tour and he said this is it. Like I don't know if Max twirls another gem tonight, the Blue Jays win it. They win the World Series. Wouldn't it's pretty nice to go out on top. Not a lot of guys get to do it. Scherzer's made a ton of money. I think he's the second most money ever made playing this game. I think it's Verlander and him. Max Scherzer, who still shows up in historically bad outfits sometimes. I know he did that. I think in the 19 World Series, I think it was just a jeans and shirt combination that if someone showed up to your office wearing it, you'd be like, "Hey, man, why don't you take a half day?" But he can do that because he's Max Scherzer, one of the best pitchers to ever play. Um, and he's a complete different breed that, hey, maybe Scherzer's going to start doing what I keep dreaming about, and he's going to pitch the next 5 seasons, but he's just going to show up at the All-Star break. I don't know. He doesn't seem like he's wired that way. It seems like he likes being a part of the fabric of the team, that he can do whatever he wants. So let's see what they get out of him tonight. Let's see if the top of the Dodgers lineup shows up. It's been a sneaky little uh, Freddie, Mookie, and Shohei outside of 2 games haven't fully been there, which you can put that in glass half full. You could put that in glass half empty. Um, when will it happen? And tonight's game is so much more massive for the Blue Jays. Um, if the Blue Jays win tonight, you're guaranteed to go back to Canada. Um, you won the Max Scherzer game again, which seemed like that was going to be this team's landmine coming into the postseason. Like, who is going to get their fourth starter spot? Um, Guaranteed to go back. Where on the Dodgers side, it's just where these guys are sickos. It's Shohei Ohtani is going to start Tuesday night's game, coming off the greatest game ever played, the last time he pitched. And then it's Snell again, which, hey, again, Snell versus Savage. The Dodger hitters getting a second look at Savage. What will that look like? But you can play that same card with Toronto versus Snell and what they did to him. Although I will say, again, I don't think Snell had his best stuff. If Toronto wins tonight, I think we're looking at 7. Um, if they don't, I think there's going to be a wave of the Dodgers in 5 that they are going to, with Shohei and Snell lined up in LA, who this team is supposed to be. They don't want to go and take another flight to Canada. Shohei can shut them down for 7. Snell can shut them down for 7. That if the Blue Jays get tonight, watch out. I think we're locked in for potentially an all-time World Series, because that either means Blue Jay ball worked again or they snuck one out late, which was kind of my key to all this. So excited to watch. We'll have some content coming to you on social media. Check it out. We went to a local coffee shop, um, and they had Dodger cinnamon buns. So I took a picture and I posted that on Instagram. So if that's the kind of content you're looking for, um, go check that out. Um, Couple Jakey travel updates before I get into free agency because I think some of you like it, some of you don't, but that is what it is. Um, we are staying in West Hollywood, famous before Pink Pony Club, but yeah, look at that. It's nice. Thanks for giving the heart on that. Appreciate that. Oh, who is that dog? Who is that dog?
I don't know that dog.
For people on YouTube, you just got to see a treat. Thank you to all the YouTube people. Thank you to everyone. And as I mentioned, a lot going on. Thank you to Nike. Just a reminder to people, we're with Nike. Pretty cool. I got the shoes on. I'll pop one up. Brought two pairs of Nike shoes. Hello. These have been through it. These have become my travel shoes. But yeah, there's a link in the description. If you're gonna buy something from Nike, which you do, if you guys could get it from us, that would be awesome. And I just got these same pair of shoes. They become my go-to shoes. This is an update for BBD and a couple people that they'll like. These shoes that have now become my signature shoe. They're the most comfy shoe I've ever had.
Usually in them.
Yeah, they've become my everyday shoe. Um, I'm forgetting the name here. I got another pair just to roll it. And that's not the major update, but that is a good, you start becoming older and you're like, I like these shoes. I'll get these shoes. Got a DM from Nick Bubak saying these are his
Wow.
shoes. I know. He's been a little missing. He's a JM Hall of Famer early. A lot of talking Yank stuff there. He wears the same shoes. So that has again made one person happy just with my same gotta win 4 out of 6 if you lose game one math. Anyways, Jakey travels updates before I get into free agency. We're in West Hollywood. It is one of the bigger, famously gayborhoods in the world. Yeah, I arrived here at 1 p.m. local time, which is 4 p.m. My Broncos were going to be on, so I was like, yeah, let me go to a bar. Um, and yeah, I mean, it was the options were not super straight, and that's okay. But as a guy going alone, um, I don't know what I'm putting out. Um,
You're accounting for it.
yeah, I mean, I got some looks, which wasn't the worst deal. I had another buddy who lives locally who met me up, which again, that vibe came off a little different, and he's lived in LA for a few years, and he's like, yeah, man, I've never come here to watch sports. So that's on me a little bit.
Okay.
Not, willing to traverse across LA a little more. Great neighborhood, enjoying myself. And then I think the other just Jakeyism that I think some people will like. I got dressed this morning to go get coffee, and I accidentally put on these shorts, this shirt, and this hat are kind of all this same tone. I'll stand up for the YouTube. Um, but
A
yeah,
little grout fitty.
yeah, it's a light blue to green color that I don't know either came across super fashionable, like this could be a high fashion look, or like I just outed myself as the straight guy in West Hollywood. So those are the early travel updates. We're gonna try to get to the stadium early, maybe a little bit of content, a little bit of schmoozing. I did tell people if I get the chance, I'm going to try to take The Office, Michael Scott with the boss picture with Rob Manfred. So if that happens today, I'll try to do that for the people. Just talking so much, I almost threw up there. All right, let's get into an early free agency preview, just to get some thoughts out there about the depth at certain positions, money, teams mentioned, and a couple. I guess I'm just gonna start saying Jake-isms, which I don't know how I feel about that. I think people understand, but I don't want that to come off in a braggadocious way. Just it's how I talk. Anyways, if you want to read along while you listen, which I don't know, I guess people do that. I don't really do that. If you want to read it and then listen, if you want to listen then read it.
Just sometimes we're gonna say a lot of numbers. If you want to be able to look at them in front of
Yeah.
you, there's a link.
America's GM, Jim Bowden, top 50 free agents with contract predictions and team fit. So again, I want to do some deeper cut free agency and prediction episodes. So this will just kind of be getting everyone excited because I know, my favorite team went to the ALDS, and I'm starting to Jones for off-season action that, a couple of your teams didn't get that extra week of baseball. A lot of teams didn't. So you've been daydreaming that we can start daydreaming. The number one guy listed is Kyle Tucker, which I think there might be an interesting argument if the Bregman hype train takes off again. He did slow down after he got hurt, but Kyle Tucker's the guy. He's going to get the biggest number. Age comes into play with free agency. He is listed at 28. As consistent gets, and with the potential for more. Kyle Tucker, his last year in Houston, the numbers were kind of crazy. Kyle Tucker before he got hurt this year, the numbers were looking crazy, but then he got banged up. He tried to come back for this Cubs team. I don't think he's going to get knocked for that, especially when his numbers landed essentially around his career. He had a 143 OPS plus this year on the season as a whole. He's got a career 140 OPS plus. Last year in Houston, again, insane. When he was 27, so you're like, okay, maybe there is another level to this guy. He had a 993 OPS, a 408 on base. He can steal bases. He stole 25 bases in 136 games this year. I do think we're starting to see a little contract year stolen bases thing coming out that, Josh Naylor, Willie Adames. I think it's become a little bit of a, hey, I can do this, and if this helps my contract, I'm going to do it. But I think as Kyle Tucker gets closer to 30, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's going to be a sneaky aspect to his game because he does have great career stolen base numbers. He basically does everything. He's five tool. He's five tool. I know some of the defensive metrics have gone down a little bit, but Kyle Tucker is a great all around ball player. The on base percentage will always translate. Who knows? Depending his ballpark and where he lands, that's probably going to dictate his homer numbers by a little bit. But all in all, a great all around ball player, hitting free agency at the right age, 4 straight All-Star games. Like Kyle Tucker's a guy. It feels a little bit, and I don't know if it's the name or I don't know if it's his the Abe Lincoln type qualities, but he doesn't necessarily scream superstar or like when you see that contract drop, like his contract could get close to Vladdy, and it's like, oh well, he's Vladdy. Where Kyle Tucker's numbers probably better all around than Vladdy. Um, Vladdy's peak, you could say, was higher, and Vladdy wins the age game, and Toronto has had trouble with free agency and keeping guys. So, okay, that math is what it is. But Kyle Tucker's going to be in that landing zone. That our contract prediction from America's GM 10 for 427. Okay. That's a big boy number. And I do expect it to be in that ballpark. I do wonder if there's going to be a little bit of CBA fear slash how much star power does Kyle Tucker really have, that I do think when you're giving out a contract of that number, it comes into play. Like everything comes into play when we're talking about almost half a billy for King Tuck. And maybe with that sick nickname, maybe that's the marketing campaign that's enough to get it there. So that would be 42.7 a year for 10 years. Hey, it's going to be around there. I'm not going to give an over under prediction yet. I think the scary part, best fits McGee himself, America's GM Jim Bowden. The article's at The Athletic. I forget if I mentioned that after that whole rant. He lists the best fits as Dodgers, Yankees, Mets, Phillies, Giants. Couple things going on there. Yeah, those are the teams essentially. I mean, you could throw the Red Sox and a couple others in, like the Cubs should be listed. The teams that are willing to give out that kind of money, it makes your pool pretty tight pretty quickly. Like I think San Diego's out of that contract game. And who knows? We're gonna get our dark horses, and will there be a Texas Rangers rumor at some point? Sure. But yeah, Teoscar, they could move him to right or get him out of the out. I don't know. They're the Dodgers. Like they can't be ruled out of anything. We did this last free agency. Their ownership is the one owner. Well, I think the Mets deserve their credit ownership wise. Although their season didn't end how they wanted, huh? Sorry, Mets fans. Nobody needed that. I don't. I'll get. That was my last Mets salt. It's over. The Yankees didn't do what I wanted them to do. Anyways, um, as I'm talking about it, and I normally do this, and I was wrong with Pete and Belly because I thought their contracts were going to break the bank, and they might this time. They might this time. Um, with those teams listed, the Yankees are going to be in panic mode. A, if the Dodgers double up and win the World Series. B, if Toronto now wins the World Series and two AL East teams have won the World Series since you last have, that there's going to be extra pressure on them. And the other thing going on with the Yankees, in this free agent pool, there's not a lot of guys that truly change the team's outlook. I've started tinkering with my Yankees offseason plan that we'll be doing on Talking Yanks. That there's not a ton of significant players that you say, wow, that changes the Yankees. There's been some Bryce Harper rumors, and maybe that's where the Phillies come in. Hey, Yankees, you don't want to give Kyle Tucker 427 million? How about you take the rest of Bryce's 160? So who knows where the funny business is going to come into play there. But the Yankees are desperate for a big move. There's not a ton of big moves up there that I think they're very much players for Kyle Tucker. I think they're players for a big trade as well. The Phillies, I mean, think about what we're talking about. Kyle Schwarber is a free agent. They're rumored to be, some Harper trade offers. This next version of Phillies baseball, could Kyle Tucker be part of the solution there? I don't know. I definitely can't rule it out the way they operate as a franchise. Mets are always in play. Could Cohen see what the Dodgers have done and say, well, hey, like wait, let's rack them up? I absolutely think that. The Giants, I have a Giants player coming up later that I like as a fit for them. But maybe, dude, like they brought in Buster Olney if they want to keep up with the Joneses, who they have the Joneses in their division. Like maybe they are in play. So you got a lot of big teams in play for Kyle Tucker, a guy that you don't have to give any caveats of, when we were talking about Soto, well, the contract was going to be in a crazy area, but with Soto, we did this whole defense conversation, and at some point, DH has to be in play, or will there be a first base Soto at some point? I don't think so about first base, but you had to make some plans. Kyle Tucker, you don't have to make any plans. You can put him in a corner outfield spot. He should age pretty decently out there. Again, I know there were some defensive metrics that didn't love him, but I think those are defensive metrics and not who Kyle Tucker is as a baseball player. So he is going to be the big dog big dog. He's going to be the big dog for this free agency. And yeah, he's got the right teams involved that I don't think a looming CBA or anything is gonna get involved in that. Before I spend a big chunky time on this next kind of group of top 10, and then I'll try to speed run it a little bit. Let me tell you guys about Shopify. I think some of you that know, Shopify has been a big part of this company. We kind of built it through Shopify when we started doing merch. They were the guys. And BBD, I requested access to the sheet there. I don't have that one, but the good news about Shopify is I can speak about it truly. Our merch store is still through Shopify, and that goes back to day one with our company when Jim was like, "Hey, dude, Jake, I need to start making like 5 breakdowns a day, and I'm gonna see how we can land this thing." And it's like, okay, I'll do whatever you need, Jimbo. So I started doing the Shopify. I was Jakey merch for a little bit, and that's normally where my read comes in. It's so easy I could use it. If I could use it, you could use it. I can basically promise you that. And they have a ton of tools that helped us build our new Slashline website. So make sure you go look at that when you're looking for JM merch. And they have so many tools that help you run your business and see, hey, when do people buy? Is it right after a game? Like that was important for our business. Is it Friday nights? Is it Monday morning? Like they will give you the tools to use to help take your business to the next level. So if that's something you're looking to do, go over, check out Shopify, and start your trial today. Click the link in the description. Sign up for your $1 per month trial at shopify.com/bakers. If you're ready to leave the amateurs and head over to the big leagues, check out the link in the description. Sign up for your $1 per month trial at shopify.com/bakers. All right. Let's start sinking teeth in a little bit more. The number 2 free agent listed that I don't think people would have necessarily had before the year was Kyle Schwarber, because he did hit 56 home runs this year. And he's got 40 homers in 3 of his last 4 years. He feels like a guy. I don't have the numbers on this, but getting rid of the shift had to help out Schwarbs just a little bit. Although when you're just hitting 56 homers, maybe the shift numbers didn't help him out that much. Maybe it's mental. Maybe it was getting him out of the leadoff spot. Never loved that. I get it. He gets on base and he's scary, and you kind of wanted to like the idea of it. I don't know. I still think there's something in there that with where Schwarber's numbers land, I think it's a different conversation than Ohtani. I saw you lean in, Beebs. I don't know if you
Oh
wanted
yeah,
something
I mean,
there or
just
not.
it seems like yes, the batting average definitely got a bit of help from the shift going away. He in the 4 years, I believe, before the shift ban, 188, 266 outlier, 218, 197 batting average, and he's been in the 240s the last 2 years, which is a different player than with the exception of the 266 year.
197. That's
He
crazy.
was the ones guy.
Hey, talk about hitting free agency at the right time. He does it. Again, his free agency will be a little different because having the Dodgers and the Yankees out with Shohei Ohtani, that guy gets the DH spot. For the Yankees, they have Stanton. I will put in a little. I'll put in the smallest Yankees funny business asterisk. I know who Stanton has turned into for the Yankees. Um, we used to do a lot of off-season Giancarlo Stanton contract dump episodes. Um, he had a great year this year, and he is part of the fabric of the Yankees. But if you're the New York Yankees and you need to reshape your team, okay, is Giancarlo Stanton's value up a little bit from where it was, and is that contract down from where it was? The answer to both of those are yes. So I could see a Yankees rumor at some point, but that would bar a significant Stanton trade while Schwarber's still a free agent. That Schwarber would be like, well, okay, the Yankees are involved. You guys need to pay me my money. But the two biggest market teams would seemingly be out in the Schwarber, and let's treat it that way for now because I do think that's where it's going to be. His best fits are listed as Phillies, Mets, Tigers. Um, God, yeah, I don't know. Instant reaction, I guess, is I don't necessarily love that for Schwarbs. You'd like to think there's going to be other teams in play. Do we start digging into, um, you know, are the Angels going to be rumored with Schwarbs? Could that be one of their impact moves? Uh, it's crazy that they unfortunately get used as bait sometimes. Um, I don't know. Schwarber's going to have a market. He's one of the more beloved players. You just need the DH spot open. Could this become an NL East race? Marcelo Zuna coming off the books for the Braves. Could this be Phillies versus Braves versus Mets? Okay, starting to talk ourselves into it. I don't know where the Mets are going to land. I guess they need like an Alonso alternate plan if they lose Pete. Um, but yeah, there's going to be a big market for Schwarbs. That power can't be replaced. Could I see him having a slightly weird Alonso-ish free agency? A little bit. That he comes out with a 3-year crazy money and opt-outs. Yeah, we've seen that in past years, especially when there's some slight limitations on who he could be as a ball player. And if you're Schwarber and you're not getting the contracts you want, hey, it's kind of worked out for almost every player who's taken those opt-out contracts. Like, let's see where Belly's free agency goes. Like, Bregman counts for one of those now. I think he's going to do okay. Who is the other?
Chapman got extended off of his during year one, so
Matt
it worked
Chapman.
out.
I think Alonso's going to be in that bucket now, right? That hitting free agency at the right time is kind of the name of the game. That yeah, I want to check in with Jimmy because I know he was a little bummed out, and it was mostly from the fan side when those contracts were happening. Because when Belly signed with the Cubs, Jimmy was like, "Well, this sucks. If you're a Cubs fan, you can't buy a Belly jersey. Like he's probably going to be gone in a year," and he was right. So, I I think he was looking at that more from the fan perspective, which was true. But I think player wise, those have kind of worked out. Snell. Snell was another good example. He took that, tapped out, and got the contract with the right team. A lot of people would say.
Hmm.
Schwartz, okay. Pete Alonso is listed at number 3. Mets, Phillies, Red Sox, Mariners, Rangers. Those are the teams you want. Oh, they have Schwarber's contract. Sorry, at 5 years, 160. Okay, yeah. Instant reaction. I'm not freaked out by it with some of the numbers we've seen. I'm starting to. I kind of like the player option deal for him if nobody really rolls it out. Alonso's not going to do that again, and he doesn't need to again. He put it out there, and he made me feel vindicated, which I can only imagine how Pete Alonso feels about it. Finished with an 871 OPS on the year. Led the National League in doubles. Didn't have that. Wow. 38 homers, 126 RBI. I wouldn't be shocked if the RBI starts becoming a sexy stat again. Credit to Pete, dude. 272 batting average. That is like 270 is almost the new 300. Like if you think about it in that light, like that's very impressive from Pete, a career 253 guy. And yeah, he leveled up last year. He plays every day, man. He's got a 162 each of the past 2 years. He has a little bit of star power that you wonder if that matters. I have to think the Mets keep him. Like just to be the righty that is with Soto. Like you saw how that can work for them this year. Um, and if you're going to be Cohen and you're going to be involved with all these players, he's the Mets all-time home run leader. Like, what are we doing? Do you not need a righty masher behind Juan Soto? That I think it's going to land there. He's obviously has to flirt with the other teams, and that was part of the problem with his last free agency, that he was kind of like, I do want to stay a Met, coming off not his greatest season. And, dude, everyone was his free agency was so ridiculous. People were talking about how his body's going to age. It's baseball. How was Kyle Schwarber's body going to age 5 years ago? Right? He looked like the chunky guy in the Cubs that if you made everyone pick between Rizzo, Baez, Schwarber, and Bryant, Schwarber probably would have been the guy that you were like, I don't think so. Like, how's that going to
That
age?
ends first.
He's winning. He's winning the war.
He's lapped everybody,
Crazy.
and that's like no fault of the other guys.
And why are we putting Kirk's height and weight every time he comes up to the plate, but not the other players? Anyways, Alonso's going to do well. I have to think it's going to be the Mets. Who will really get involved? How pissy does the NL East get this year? I can't believe they listed this. Well, this is America's GM, Jim Bowden, but he has the Phillies listed second. 6 years, 182. Yeah, I think Pete should be in that range. That I think last year I took the over on him going. I want to say they were listing him around the 150 range or maybe 140. And I was like, yeah, he should get that. He didn't. He's going to get it now. Maybe I just want to feel vindicated about the whole thing. How about your first pitcher listed as Framber Valdez? End of the year landed in a bit of a weird spot for Framber, intentionally crossing up his catcher. And then the Astro season falling out. Remember that? I guess if I'm going to get my last salty Mets shot in, Houston just didn't make the dance this year. And that roster's starting to look a little different. And George Springer's still hitting home runs in the World Series for Toronto. Anyways, Framber stats are nails. I don't think people are going to care about the pitch crossing controversy. Remember Chris Sale? Remember when he cut up all the jerseys in the locker room? Nobody ended up caring later because he's Chris Sale. And when you can pitch like Framber Valdez can pitch, um, he's going to get the contract. Let me give you a couple Framber numbers because they get me excited. Let's do innings. The last 4 years, 201, 198, 176, 192. And a lot of those numbers do have postseason innings attached to them. He's thrown 85 career postseason innings, although they used to be elite. His last four starts, he's gotten knocked around a little bit in the postseason. But Framber's been in a lot of big games. That's an extra 16 starts. That's another like half a season for a lot of guys. Going back to the 2020 season, he has a um, career 3.36. I think if you butter knife it more recently than that, his last 4 years it's a 3.21. Like Framber's a guy you're okay giving him the ball in the big game. If you've got a scary hitter stadium, like think about Framber Valdez have been pitching in Houston. Like okay, stack your righties and aim for that the Crawford boxes, and he's survived that. So he's going to be very appealing to the teams that have a hitter's ballpark. Um, he's going to be appealing to all the teams. Jim Bowden lists the Astros, Orioles, Mets, Braves, Cubs, Padres, Giants. Good crew to be listed. Although Orioles, you don't belong until you do it. Like I'm sorry, I don't want that to come off as Yankees, but those other teams have shown me something. If the Cubs aren't in the Kyle Tucker business where his number lands, how will they counter that? And is that going to be, hey, instead of signing Kyle Tucker for 420 million, we signed these guys for 300 million? Like I could definitely see that happening. Because what was it Jesse Rogers who covers the Cubbies had that tweet this year that's like the Cubs have never been and won't be in on Tucker. Um, Everyone looked at that and was like, was this necessary or how real is that? But he's not a guy that does funny business.
No.
Interesting. Um, Framber, the Padres are listed too, that I just don't know where they are at a big contract wise. They would have to move someone to bring in someone at that rate. Braves need pitching. That would be an interesting one. And donate a little bit to that Braves Foundation and you're good. And yeah, where do the Astros land? They don't like to give out the long-term contracts that if the years and money land in the right spot, they could be very well back into it. I want to skip because the next pitcher listed, which might surprise people, because this was kind of supposed to be Dylan Cease's year. Like if Dylan Cease put up his Cy Young 3, he was going to be the guy. And he's listed one spot lower on America's GM's list. But the second pitcher listed is Ranger Suarez. I think I'm going to call my shot with Ranger. He reeks of San Francisco Giants to me. I think Buster Posey likes a ball player, likes a gamer. That's kind of what he's shown in some of his early transactions. Ranger Suarez, so does Framber. They put it on the ground, and that left side of the infield with Chapman and Willie Adames. Big pitchers ballpark, like where Rangers numbers could land compared to pitching in Citizen Bank. I don't know. That was the first I mentioned there was going to be a Jakeism when I originally did a scan on this list. And I was like, where's the free agent match? I had Santander to the Blue Jays going back throughout all of last season. Ranger Suarez and the Giants just feels like a match to me. I don't know what it is, but that's what my spidey sense is tingling about. That's why I skipped down there. And Ranger Suarez, 6 years, 164. The best team fits. Bowden has more teams, a lot of the same ones, but he also has the Tigers, the Mets involved in there. This guy's gonna have a market, dude. He's just a dog. Like his playoff numbers are all time. That you wonder, okay, seeing what we saw this postseason with the Dodgers and like who Blake Snell is, like, are we gonna start respecting postseason numbers more because his 42 innings with a 1.48 ERA, starting and relieving. Okay, it's sports are copycat. If you're a team that thinks you're going to be in the postseason, wouldn't you want this guy on your team? Never mind that the regular seasons are good too. Um, that I think Rangers going to do well, and I think it's with the San Francisco Giants, but we will see. It is just wild. Like the salary comps that he has listed are Glass now, Robbie Ray, Kikuchi, Rodon, Evaldi, Sonny Gray, Blake Snell. Um, I think Rangers. I think Rangers going to do well. Cease is going to be an interesting one, but all the teams buy into the arm talent. I guess for his free agency, it just might be interesting if he's not getting. Could he be like Snell? Could he take one of the opt out deals? Because my God, we kind of know who Cease is. Last year wasn't his year. That would it not benefit him more? And the teams love giving these because they have to give out less money initially. Cease, I'll 1,000% take the under on his 6 year projected 6 year 187 million. That guy should absolutely take one of the 3 year opt out deals, pitch really well one of those years, and you're going to get a bigger contract. So that's okay. That's something I was looking to stumble into. The stumble in. The next pitcher gets sexy, but I skipped a couple hitters and two fun ones. Bo Bichette and Alex Bregman. Bo Bichette, man, I love, and this is where America's GM gets me. The first salary comp listed, Willie Adames, 7 years, 182. Yeah, I mean, doesn't that feel kind of right? If anything, I mean, Bichette's defense could be a little nervous at shortstop. As a Yankees fan who has been screaming for a shortstop for 4 years during Judge and Cole's prime, um, like he's not on my radar for Yankee shortstop, which is kind of insane. But the defense has had its moments of like tough to watch with Bichette. That maybe as a Yankee fan, I just need to throw that out and say, why not get this cat? Because when he's out there, all he does is hit. Is he going to add the postseason moment on top of it to make it a little juicier to the GM? Maybe. Hey, the Blue Jays have that big budget. They've talked about it for years. They've gone to the World Series this year. Vladdy re-upped for half a billy. If Toronto gets in the 200 million, does that mean he's going back to Toronto? Could see that. Marcus Semien would be the other. Semien went to play second base. He got 7 years, 175 million. Blue Jays, Red Sox, Tigers, Yankees, Phillies, Dodgers, Cubs, Mariners, Mets. Bo Bichette is going to get paid, and 7 years, 189. I'll up it because Bichette's also young, dude. Is Bichette 27? Yes, Bo Bichette is 27 years old. He's technically a shortstop. He was willing to play second base in the World Series in a pinch. Guess what? That matters. And he hits like an MFer. Okay, I just got excited for Bo Bichette. I think it's got to start with a 2. He hit 311 this year, career 294. The 1 year 2024 is the clearest of outliers for this guy. The strikeouts are low. If the Blue Jays win or their new style approach to hitting becomes sexier around baseball, which it should because their approach to hitting is hitting. Bo Bichette is a hitter. He is going to do very well. Toronto, I wouldn't be shocked if they have the highest number for him. And again, this is a personal thing for a lot of people. Like he's lived in Toronto for a while now. Does he want to live somewhere else? Like could there be a little Trey Turner wanted to live on the East Coast with Bo Bichette? Is there somewhere that he has in mind? You could see that. He's also lived up there, and maybe it's life. And if they offer you the most money and you got a taste of the World Series and let's run this every year, he does have a nice collection of teams involved. Man, the Red Sox are really scary on that list. If they lose out on Bregman, who's the next listed free agent, that is a perfect little pivot for them. Get Bo Bichette and Fenway. My God. Bregman's free agency. I cannot wait to watch. He came out and he was gangbusters. That OPS was 927 before the injury, 727 after. The pop was clearly gone, and he can point to the injury, but also you're a year older and you did get injured. So um, he's going to make out fine. Listed contract prediction 6 years, 182. And yeah, man, that's Matt Chapman, Willie Adames. Nolan Arenado, Jose Ramirez. God, Jose Ramirez. God damn it. 7 for 141. Hate Cleveland, Jose. Sorry to all my Cleveland fans. You didn't need that, but I did. Um, Bregman's one's going to be interesting for me. There's a chance he could regret the opt out, but where his market landed by the end of last year with teams bidding for him, the Cubs were hyper involved, the Red Sox were in. Um, there was there there was a couple low days where I was wondering if Alex Bregman could play shortstop for the Yankees. So um, I'm watching Mookie Betts do it. Different cat. Um, Bregman's going to make out well. Even think about these baseball teams we're talking about now and the stories with Bregman and how he became the leader of the Red Sox and he was helping guys with approaches and he was texting guys at 2 a.m. about hitting. Like the baseball guys in baseball eat that shit up. I think they're right to because they're baseball guys and that stuff matters. He's gonna make out fine. I was interested with how he looked after the injury. If he might think of just tapping into Boston for another year, but he's opting out, and that's going to be one of the interesting storylines of free agency because he and his agent Scott Boras need to do better than that. Um, my God, I'm deep in this thing, but good. We had a bunch of ads. You people deserve it. Because my number 9 free agent, talk about getting me hot and bothered. Um, Tatsuya Imai, we think I've got that. I think I've got the Imai part. I got to work on the
Yeah,
Tatsuya.
Imai, I feel good about.
27 years old, coming over from your Cebu Lions, listed at 5'11", 154 pounds. Hey, how does Japan have all these undersized guys that throw electric and they don't get hurt? I don't know. If someone wants to reach out to me about that, um, and maybe it's all come, whatever. It's a bad time to bring that up. Anyways, fastball mid to high 90s. Yep. Secondary pitch, wipeout slider. Yep. Mixes in changeup, splitter, curveball, sinker. Yep. Remember when Imanaga wasn't supposed to work here?
Supposed to be just kind of like a guy.
God, I think we are just obnoxious, dumb Americans. Although I think that may be over because the prediction is 7 years, 154, which that's in that Tanaka flight zone when he came over. But that's crazy because that's over a decade ago. Tanaka was king of the world, still is. Two-time All-Star in Japan, great 192 ERA and 163 and two-thirds inning. Yeah, man. Profiles as an MLB mid-rotation innings eater. Yeah, I bet. So did Senga. So did Imanaga. Is Yamamoto gonna work here? He just worked better than basically every American pitcher for the past 50 years. I think it was the most consecutive outs since Don Larson's World Series perfect game. Maybe that's a little reactionary. Maybe it's not. Remember they won the WBC? Okay. Jakey Japan's getting a little hot. Getting a little hot in his hotel room. West Hollywood. I'm gonna keep on dancing. Is the Pink Pony Club a real place? It's
In the limited research I've done, I don't think it's a specific place.
Let's see. Pink Pony Club. Airplane mode, Jake. Grow up. Pink Pony Club. Search nearby. No, it looks like there's one in Florida. They've got to be doing well.
It looks like it might be inspired by a since closed place called Pink Cadillac.
Okay.
So that's today.com.
A big John Boy Media update. Texted Coach Ballgame if he was going to the game tonight. He said, "Sure wish I was." He followed that up with, "You dressing up as Benson Boone." Um, and then he followed up his own text with, "Let's smoke a cigar this week and get weird." So, gonna be tough to break it to him that I'm flying out tomorrow morning, but um, an update from the coach. And I forget that he coaches kids, and sometimes he doesn't like when I share his text messages. But this is Wake and Jake. It's gonna be okay, Coach. I love you. Um,
We're deep.
anyways, am I? He's gonna be one of the big tickets. Is his number going to clear Ranger and Framber? I feel like it should. He's 27. He again, maybe I'm leaning too much on what I've seen from these other pitchers, where experience in the MLB should matter, but I don't. Those numbers are pretty damn impressive. Um, I don't know. He's going to be a hot topic in Yankee land, even though they have starting pitching depth because they haven't signed a pitcher from Japan in a long time. Mets, Giants, Red Sox, Cubs, Orioles, Astros, Padres. I'll throw the Dodgers in the mix, right? Like, what are we doing here? I do think there has, well, with all the Japanese players, there's a link to the West Coast just because that's a lot closer to home. Um, so you'd like to think they're going to have the edge. Could he be part of the Cubs pivot plan? If Kyle Tucker doesn't happen, could it be Imai joins the rotation with Imanaga there, and then they sign another guy? And that's interesting to me. Um, let's see. Again, I said I was going to start chewing through. Cody Bellinger is listed at 10. Cody was really refreshing to watch. This year. He is a ball player. He's got versatility that's going to be able to help your team even if he's struggling. I think his numbers when he was struggling at the major league level have a direct correlation to his shoulder injury that I think took time to properly recover. 6 years, 168. Yankees are the number one team listed. I think it's going to be interesting. 6 years, 168. What's the number on that, Beebs? That would be carry the two.
That'd be 28 on the dot.
28, and Kyle Tucker was projected for 42. So that's a gap.
Yeah.
You know, that's you could sign Cody Bellinger and you could figure out a hole at another position pretty damn well, rather than Kyle Tucker. So he is probably going to be waiting for the Kyle Tucker market to happen, and then whoever misses on that will be in the Cody Bellinger game. Cody Bellinger back to the Cubs. might be a fun little loop. I don't think so. I think they've got some young outfielders. But God, best fits the Guardians are listed. Come on, America's GM. You stop that. Royals, Angels. I do think Angels are an interesting one. Astros are going to be in the outfielder market, and it's just how significant are they going to go? And the first two teams, Yankees and the Mets, giddy up. Get ready for that. Speed run a few. Zach Gallen, probably a tough year to hit free agency, listed 5 years, 135. I'd put him in another one of those opt-out options. Have your good year and then hit free agency. Murakami is going to be a huge story this free agency. Slugger from Japan, 25 years old, has real power. Set the home run record over there. Defensively, how's it going to work? Is he could he be slated for Dodgerdom? Padres, Mets, Mariners, Diamondbacks, Guardians, Red Sox listed 6 years, $160. For this young king. Speaking of kings, Michael King will hit free agency. Tough injury year for him. He's awesome. Remember his playoffs performances from about a year ago. Could be another contract option guy. We're talking medicals with his contract, which you don't love that. And he's 30 years old. That yeah, I'd like to think he'd rather not get locked into a 3 or 4 year deal, that his next free agency would be at 34, when if he has a massive year next year, he would get a massive contract. Said that for too many pitchers now. Edwin Diaz is going to be fun. The best fits are Mets, Dodgers, Yankees, Braves. Giddy up. He is a, for a big budget team, paying a closer that kind of money, you need to be a big budget team. that is going to be a lot of fun to see where he goes. And is he going to be the lead in front of Robert Suarez? Probably. And all those other teams are going to be in play. He had the season you want to have before free agency. He's got the velo. That's going to be fun. Shane Bieber next on the table. Let's see how he does. Uh, wow, 3 years, 75 player opt out. So I guess there's
Wow.
he's saying the same thing about him coming off free agency. Like have your Shane Bieber year before it. Which now I've mentioned too many pitchers for that one of them was just going to get a real contract. Josh Naylor, 4 years, 90 million. Okay, why not? He can hit. He has a speed game now. He is young. He definitely provides some energy to your team. I'll be excited for whoever signs Josh Naylor, unless it's the Red Sox, because I just saw that on the Fitz list. Don't like it. Okamoto, another Japanese player. Maybe we're here, people. Maybe this is what I've dreamt of. Another Japanese player supposedly has versatility, corner infield, corner outfield. Raked this year, right-handed hitter. I know Yankee fans are excited because that's just what we do. Mariners, Mets, Red Sox, D-backs, Guardians. How about free agent 19 hit 50 dingers this year? Eugenio Suarez. Who is going to sign that sex pistol? Mariners, Red Sox, Tigers, Phillies, Angels listed. Phillies, could that be fun? Good hitters ballpark if they need to audible from Schwarber if he lands somewhere else. Why don't we just plug in another 50 homers from this cat? Merrill Kelly, looking at a 2-year deal of sorts. Then we start getting into Glaber, Jorge Polanco. Real Muto is going to be a fun free agency. Trent Grisham is going to be a fun free agency. Bassett, Rogers. Let me see where. I guess if I'm doing a tier list of free agents, which I should probably just do that. That sounds like a click.
Feels like that's coming.
Not that that's what it's all about, people, but I'm just saying. Ryan O'Hearn, okay, that's different in a way, although what he can provide. Luis Arise is listed as free agent 29. I hope he lands in the right spot.
We finally get to play the game. I feel like for years you've been saying, what's he gonna get when he's a free agent?
And man, he is projected low, and it's just crazy that he doesn't have a defensive position, and you got to use your DH spot for not power, and he's not great on the base. It's a really weird thing that he might be a batting average champion vagabond the next couple years. It feels like he's gonna find a place to call home. Okay, weird Jakey one that just popped up. How about the Cincinnati Reds? He's going to run into a couple more home runs there. They have been hunting, hitting. This guy will hit. Get your power from somewhere else. That's just off the top of my head. Is he even not listed as a team? His teams
It's
are
the
Padres,
most fun list I've seen.
Padres, Athletics, Pirates, Rockies, White Sox, Angels. My God. Okay, and then I think we're entering a little bit of a different space between Tyler Mahle. Is Ha-Sung Kim opting out? We think so. Zach Littell, Emilio Pagan, Devin Williams, Helsley, Verlander. Okay, so that's where I think the market starts to change significantly. This was the tidy preview, people. So I'm excited to do some deep dives with you as we could be 3 games away from the postseason. Which 3 games? Which team, Jake? I don't know. I was Dodgers in 6 coming into this, and that always feels corny. I will say, if the Blue Jays can get back to Toronto, feels powerful. But in Game 6, it would also be Yamamoto, and I don't know. Why not just tie the knot on that legend? We will see. Going to be in the building tonight. If you're there, say hi. Let's snag a pick. We might have to keep it moving. We might have stuff to do. We might be watching a World Series game, people. That's the exciting stuff. We love you. Make sure you're subscribed. Share with a friend who likes sports. And we will be back Wednesday. Oh, yeah. Sports.